have got a good deal to show for it. It is fair, it is a balanced deal, and it is the right and responsible thing to do for both sides. Les négociations ont été...
The negotiations were very difficult. A lot was at stake for so many people. So this was an agreement that we absolutely had to fight for. We need to avoid major disturbances for passengers, companies after the 1st of January 2021 and protect European interest. I believe also that this agreement is in the United Kingdom's interest. It will set solid foundations for a new start with a long-term friend. And it means that we can finally put Brexit behind us. And Europe is continuing to move forward. In German, the European Union has shown unity over this time. 450 million people, the biggest single market in the world, and we were able to rely on these assets. It's very important in this agreement, line by line, chapter by chapter.
Our single market will be fair and remain so. The EU rules and standards will be respected. We have effective tools to react if fair competition is distorted and impacts our trade. Secondly, we will continue cooperating with the UK in all areas of mutual interest. For example, in the field of climate change, energy, security and transport. Together, we still achieve more than we do apart. And thirdly, we have secured 5.5 years of full predictability for our fishing communities and strong tools to incentivize to remain so. Of course, this whole debate has always been about sovereignty. But we should cut through the sound bites and ask ourselves what sovereignty actually means in the 21st century. For me, it is about being able to seamlessly do work, travel, study, and do business in 27 countries. It is about pooling our strength and speaking together in a world full of great powers. And in a time of crisis, it is about pulling each other up instead of trying to get back to your feet alone. And the European Union shows how this works in practice. And no deal in the world can change reality or gravity in today's economy and today's world. We are one of the giants. Die Europäische Union ist gut.
The European Union is well prepared for Brexit. Obviously, we're aware of the fact that this agreement isn't going to resolve all problems, and we've been working closely with authorities and business in Europe to ensure that they are well prepared. In our new budget, there is €5 billion ring-fenced to help people and companies that are very much affected by Brexit.
Time to turn the page and look to the future. The United Kingdom is a third country, but it remains a trusted partner. We are long-standing allies. We share the same values and interests, whether it be the COP26 summit in Glasgow or the upcoming UK G7 and Italian G20 presidencies. The European Union and the United Kingdom will stand shoulder to shoulder to deliver on our common global goals. Ce moment marque l'aboutissement.
And this moment marks the end of a long voyage. I would like to thank our chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, and his team, and Stephanie Rizzo, for their tireless efforts, their endurance, their professionalism.
Thank David Frost and Tim Barrow for having been tough but fair negotiating partners. And I'm grateful to all our member states and the European Parliament for their trust and their support. I will now convene the college. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of a successful negotiations journey, I normally feel joy. But today, I only feel quite satisfaction and, frankly speaking, relief. I know this is a difficult day for some, and to our friends in the United Kingdom, I want to say, parting is such sweet sorrow. But to use a line from T.S. Eliot, what we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. So to all Europeans, I say, it is time to leave Brexit behind. Our future is made in Europe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, President. Now allow me to give the floor to our Chief Negotiator, Michel Barnier.
Thank you, Madam President, dear Ursula. The clock is no longer ticking. After 4 years of collective effort and EU unity to preserve peace and stability on the island of Ireland, to protect the citizens and the single market, to build a new partnership with the UK. Thank you all. Thank you all. This is the work of so many women and men here in the Commission, under your leadership, Madam the President, all the services, and in particular the EU Task Force for the Brexit, with Clara Martinez and Paulina Dejmek and all the team, and in the Member States, the Council, the European Parliament. I also pay tribute also to the EU-UK negotiating team and the chief negotiator, David Frost, and his deputies. This process has engaged so many citizens, businesses, stakeholders, and obviously so many journalists. Thank you for your patience and for your attention. Today is a day of relief, but tinged by some sadness as we compare what came before with what lies ahead. Le Royaume-Uni a choisi de quitter.
The United Kingdom has chosen to leave the European Union and the single market, to renounce the benefits and advantages enjoyed by member states. Our agreement does not reproduce these rights and benefits, and therefore, despite this agreement, there will be real changes in a few days from now, as of 1st of January, real changes for many citizens and many businesses, and that is the result of Brexit. But we have also built a new partnership for the future around 4 pillars. Firstly, a free trade agreement, an ambitious and fair one, free and fair trade, without tariffs or quotas. And at the heart of this agreement, there will be new rules of the new economic game rules, the level playing field, as we call it, which for the European Union will be the start of a new generation of free trade agreements. Secondly, an economic and social partnership whose scope will be unprecedented. It will cover aviation, road transport, energy, combating climate change, fisheries, where we have achieved reciprocal access to waters and to resources, and with a new distribution of fishing quotas and fishing opportunities, which has been directly agreed, as is only natural, between the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and Prime Minister Johnson, with taking account of Britain's new status as an independent coastal state, that is a state which will no longer be part of the common fisheries policy just a few days from now. This agreement will require efforts, I know. The European Union will support its fishermen and women, will accompany them, and that is our commitment. Our partnership also includes cooperation in the field of research and innovation, nuclear safety, space, in the framework of EU programmes. And in this field, our partnership will also include a non-discrimination clause concerning EU citizens, which will apply to visas, to services, and to coordinating social security. And on this point, I have just two regrets in terms of our societal cooperation. Firstly, the British government decided not to participate in the Erasmus exchange programme. And secondly, the level of ambition in terms of mobility of citizens is not in line with our historical ties, but that again is a choice of the British government. The third pillar of our agreement concerns the security of our citizens, and we've always said that our security, that of our citizens, is not up for grabs. And combating terrorism and crime requires close cooperation between the European Union and this great country, the United Kingdom. We will continue to work together in 8 main fields, and this will entail 2 preconditions. Firstly, respecting fundamental rights and respecting personal data. And in this respect, too, in a very uncertain and unstable world in which we now find ourselves, we regret the fact that the British government has chosen not to, at least for the time being, has chosen not to reach an agreement on foreign policy, defence and development. And then finally, as regards the fourth pillar, the governance of this agreement, it is based on political dialogue and consultation, a binding mechanism for dispute settlement, and credible implementation of our legal orders with provision for sanctions when necessary, including unilateral sanctions, which can be imposed quickly and effectively where necessary. As the President has said, the proposal will be put to the European Council, bringing together the 27 governments and the European Parliament. Over 4.5 years, we have worked together to build this agreement stage by stage. Firstly, the withdrawal agreement, which enabled us to stabilise peace, consolidate peace in Northern Ireland, to protect citizens' rights, to resolve financial issues. And then in full transparency, with mutual respect, and in the spirit of dialogue, we have continued working now for 9 months, which is a very short time span, to reach this partnership agreement for the future, which is unprecedented in terms of its scope and its complexity. Over these 4.5 years, the European Union has shown unity. That is its strength, unity and solidarity between all member states and with the European Parliament. It has been a great honour for me to be part of this European unity.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Barnier. Je vais maintenant prendre...
Thank you very much, Mr. Barnier. We can now take some questions. Could you kindly raise your hands in the system, as you know, if you wish to put a question? I see that Derek Barrett is first, so let me give the floor to Derek of Les Echos.
Bonjour, vous m'entendez?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes, everything's fine. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes, thank you very much. And good afternoon to you, President, and Michel Barnier. Now, what confidence do you have in the UK's capacity to respect this agreement, given their behaviour in the past?
Already built in the withdrawal agreement strong measures in case that the withdrawal agreement is not being applied properly. The infringement procedure, for example, that we started. And the same mechanisms are in this agreement, that we have strong measures that can be taken if one party does not play by the rules. So starting from rebalancing mechanisms that are built in with dispute settlement mechanism to review clauses and an overall review, for example, after 4 years, to see whether both sides play by the rules, that the level playing field is level indeed, and there's the commitment to follow whatever has been agreed in this deal. So from the experience we've had, we built in safeguards that are necessary to make sure that there's a strong incentive for both sides to stick to what they have agreed to.
Thank you so much. I will now give the floor to Verena from DPA. Verena, are you there? So we are waiting for Verena to get connected. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, Verena, go ahead. Yes, Verena, go ahead.
Great, excellent. Thank you very much for the question, and good afternoon to the President and Mr. Barnier. Given the extreme time pressure toward the end of these negotiations and the deadline being only 7 days away, are you confident that you really safeguarded all the interests of the Union and of its member states? Or did you have to give in to British demands just to avoid disaster a week from now? Thank you very much.
We had a very strong negotiating position. Indeed, you're right, the time was very, very short. At the beginning of the year, we have already said very clearly that for such a comprehensive agreement, 12 months are really short, and on top came COVID. This did not make the negotiations more easy, and therefore it is outstanding what the negotiating team has done and achieved in only 12 months. That is one part, and our negotiating position was as strong because it was the European Union who said very clear, if the United Kingdom wants access to the single market, the largest single market in the world, without quota and without tariffs, then they are, as a sovereign country, free to decide whether they play by the rules, like every other company in the single market too. This is the level playing field. If they do not want to follow the rules, then there will be quota tariffs, so there is a price to pay for that. And as we knew, in any case, if there would have been a hard Brexit, it would not have been good for both sides, but it would have hit the United Kingdom harder than the European Union, with all its might of 450 million citizens. And therefore, from a position of strength, we were able to come forward with the most comprehensive agreement we've ever had. This agreement will write history. If you look at the clear composition of rules that are very distinct to make sure that there's fair play on both sides, that is a very clear, if you want to access the single market, you have to abide to the rules all the other ones are abiding to. And in the fishery field, I think we made a huge step forward and got a very good agreement. So this shows that from a position of strength, you can achieve a lot.
Thank you very much, President. I know that you have to go and inform the college. There is interest for additional questions, but we have a technical briefing where all the questions will be addressed. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us in the European Commission's press room for this press conference, and stay tuned for the technical briefing off the record, which will follow in a few minutes.